Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to connect autoresponder applications. And in order to find the autoresponder applications available to you in Zapier, if you don't know which ones you're going to work with, you can look to the right-hand side menu, and they're going to actually be in several categories. For example, the Amazon SES autoresponder is going to be found in the Amazon Services filter. Some email applications will be found inside of drip emails. Others will be found inside of email. Many of the most popular autoresponder services will be found inside of email newsletters. And others will be found inside of marketing automation. What you can do is you can determine which applications you're going to use. In this particular case, we're going to start by selecting Go to Webinar. And once we have Go to Webinar selected, we're then going to pick Get Response. Now we have two premium applications available. So what we're going to do is scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to take a look at which of these applications are going to be available to us. Now we have an integration that will create a Get Response contact whenever we have a GoToWebinar registrant. So we're going to use this Zap. Zapier will explain how the Zap is going to work. We're going to click Create this Zap. So the trigger for the automation is going to be that someone is going to sign up for a webinar. So we're going to go ahead and click Continue. We're now going to connect a GoToWebinar account. So we're going to click Connect an Account. Now when you do that, you're going to be asked to sign in to your GoToWebinar account. So you'll want to go ahead and put in your email address and password to sign in to GoToWebinar. And once you sign in, Zapier will then be connected to your account. You're then going to click the Test button. Zapier will confirm that it can connect to your GoToWebinar account. Then you're going to click Save and Continue. And please note, we are using GoToWebinar as an example. You might be using a different account in this particular case to do your automation. Once Zapier has logged into your account, you'll then be able to go to a drop-down menu of your existing webinars. And so you'll want to select one of the webinars that you are going to want to use to determine how to build your contact list in Get Response. So you'll select the webinar that's available, then you'll click Continue. Now, in order to test the connection, you're going to want to have at least one registrant created. And these are going to be specific directions to this Zap, to this application. You will have different application directions for every Zap that you create. So once we've confirmed that we do have one registrant created, we're then going to click Fetch and Continue. Zapier will confirm that our test is successful. We're then going to click Continue. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new contact inside of our Get Response account. So we're going to click Continue. And then you'll be asked to connect account. So you'll want to click that link. What you'll need to do now is you'll need to get an API key from inside of your Get Response account. Once again, these are specific directions to this Zap. These are specific directions to these applications. So once you've copied in your API key, you're going to click Yes and Continue. Now Get Response will actually write in your API key, which you shouldn't make public if at all possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to rename this to something else. Now you'll note the API is blurred out, but it still does show here at the bottom. What we're now going to do is we're going to click Test. And then we've confirmed that Zapier can connect to Get Response. So now we'll click Save and Continue. What we're going to do now is we're going to select a Get Response campaign. And since we're already logged into our Get Response account, the drop-down menu will populate with our various campaigns, and then we'll select one of them. What Zapier will do is it will tell you how it's going to bring the information over: first name, last name, and email address. And in some cases, this is going to be different based on how you're using the application. You won't always get the opportunity, but you want to check to make sure that you don't need any of the advanced options. And so you'll want to scroll through these advanced options to make sure that you won't be using them. If you won't, you'll click Advanced Options, and then you'll click Continue. So what Zapier is going to do now is going to send a test contact to GetResponse, and we're going to click Send Test. What we can do then is we can verify in GetResponse that the contact is present. And by going to our inbox to confirm the email, we can now see that the Zap has actually worked. So now we can click Finish. So our Zap is now turned on. It will check our GoToWebinar account every 5 minutes before it will send a new registrant over to our GetResponse list. We can go and see the Zap in action on our dashboard. We can see the Zap and we can see its history in this area. Now the Zap has not yet run, so there is no history. So as one final test, we'll then register for the actual webinar. Then what we can do is we can either wait for the Zap to happen, or we can test it by going to the right arrow drop down and then clicking Run. And Zapier has told us that it is triggering one new registrant. We're then going to click Close. And then we can confirm that the individual has now been placed inside of GetResponse. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You are looking at the email newsletters filter for our Explore workflow ideas. And you'll notice that the most popular autoresponder applications are here. It's quite possible that you may have a web application that only uses Aweber, for example, or only uses MailChimp, or only integrates with GetResponse. The problem would be your autoresponder list may be in a different web application. Having your web application add to Aweber is going to be fine. However, you want to get the person into GetResponse. So what would you do? One thing we would do is we would start by looking at the applications for Aweber. And then we would sort for GetResponse. And what you'll see is that we have a Zap available where an Aweber subscriber can be turned into a GetResponse subscriber. So we're going to click Use this Zap. Now in order to use this Zap, we're going to need an active Aweber account and an active GetResponse account. If you have those, then you would then click Create this Zap. Now the triggering action will be when someone is added to an Aweber list. And this will happen when the web application you're using automatically adds the person to your Aweber list. Then we want that person, of course, moved over to our GetResponse list. We're going to click Continue. What we're now going to need to do is to connect an Aweber account. Now, Aweber will ask for our permission to work with Zapier. So we're going to fill the dialog boxes with login and password, and then we're going to click Allow Access. Once our account is authenticated with Zapier, we can then click Test, and then we can click Save and Continue. Now, one of the things you'll notice from this screen is that we can use multiple Aweber accounts and connect them to our Zapier account, so that if you want to move someone from a second or third account from Aweber, you can actually do that also. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick one of the accounts that we're going to be using, and this will be easy since we've only connected one. We're then going to select a list. Once we've done that, we're then going to click Save and Continue. Assuming we already have at least one subscriber in the Aweber account we're using, we're going to click Fetch and Continue. Zapier will verify our test. We're then going to click Continue. And now we're going to create the new connection in GetResponse. Now we have one account connected, so we're going to click Save and Continue. And we're going to make sure that we understand how the information is going to be brought over, email address and name. We're then going to choose the campaign that we want to have someone added to in GetResponse. Once we've done that, we're then going to click Continue. We now have our Zap set up. We're now going to click Send Test to GetResponse. We're now going to click Finish. And now that our Zap is on, we're going to take a look at it on our dashboard. And we can verify that it is now working. And once we verify our emails, we now have a working application where as soon as someone is added to Aweber, they will also be added to GetResponse at the same time. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Zapier can also transfer information from productivity app to productivity app, which means that it does more than just contacts and numbers. So, for example, a very popular application for those working with to-do list is Wunderlist. And by typing in Wunderlist, we can get to the application, and then we can set aside a number of integrations for Wunderlist. Another productivity application is used by teams in particular is called Basecamp. And in scrolling through the task activity, you will notice that you can add a Wunderlist task when you create a to-do on Basecamp. That means then that the visual project management function can be turned over to a task for someone using these two applications. So we're going to start by using this Zap. You'll need an account with Basecamp 2 as well as Wunderlist. So we're going to click Create this Zap. Now the trigger will be from Basecamp 2, and we're going to click Continue. We're then going to connect to a Basecamp 2 account. We'll then need to put in our username and password that we use to log into our Basecamp account. Zapier will then ask for permission. We'll say yes, we will allow access. And then we'll click the test to make sure that we are connected. Once Zapier tells us we have success, we'll then click Save and Continue. Users of Basecamp often have more than one account that they are a part of, and so you'll need to choose the account associated with the one that you want to be the trigger. You'll then choose a specific project. And then because this is going to be based on a to-do list, you'll pick a specific to-do list. Once again, every Zap is going to be different. Every application is going to be different in terms of what you are going to be asked for. Now in this particular case, we're going to click and find a specific to-do list. So we now have our Basecamp connection set up. We're now going to click Continue. What we will do now is we will click Fetch and Continue to make sure that we are connected. Since we have an existing to-do with the project, we'll then click Continue. And now we'll look to create a task in Wunderlist. Once we do that, we will connect to a specific account. And then we'll need to connect with the specific account in Wunderlist. Once we've done that, we will test our connection. And we have success. We'll click Save and Continue. Then we can be specific inside of Wunderlist to determine which list that the task will be added, what the title will be, and then what the due date will be. So we can then click this drop down arrow. We can write in a title, and then we can put in a date. Once we've done that, we can then click Continue. We'll then have a test post to send to Wunderlist. And now we can check Wunderlist to make sure that our task is there. And we'll see that our to-do task is now created. So we can now click Finish. Zapier will by default turn the Zap on, and then we can go to see the Zap on our dashboard. So now every time we add a to-do task in Basecamp in a certain project, a to-do task will be created then in Wunderlist. And that is how you would basically work with a productivity application. In the next video, we will explore the productivity apps within one system, which is Google. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.